G'day guys, 50 here. Just thought I'd make a quick video on PI, make things a little bit easier. First off, obviously you require a ship such as this one or the equivalent to be able to haul your stuff around. Secondly, you will speak to the commanding officer of industry and he will give you instructions as to what the corp requires you to make for your 2 planets. Before beginning your PI, there are a number of things you need to be aware of that will make your life a lot easier. Firstly, we want to make sure that your skills are at a minimum level 4 in planetary management. There are very few skills in this field, but if you can get them to a minimum of level 4, it makes life that much easier. Secondly, there are a number of websites that can help you understand how PI works. Here is one of them. It's pretty self-explanatory once you have a look through and get a bit of an understanding of what's going on. Obviously raw materials far left and the higher end tier 4 far right. Now, for instance, if we want to make broadcast nodes, you highlight broadcast nodes. It tells you require data chips, high-tech transmitters and neocoms. And if we look at data chips, to make a data chip you require microfiber shielding and super tensile plastics. To find microfiber shielding you need silicon industrial fibers, and industrial fibers is made from autotrophs. And as when you highlight autotrophs, you can see top right corner that they are found on temperate planets. Therefore you require a temperate command center and a temperate planet. In this instance we will be making mechanical parts because they are part of the POS fuel that we require, and as you can see, reactive metals and precious metals go into create mechanical parts. Precious metals are made from noble metals and they are found on barren and plasma planets. And we have reactive metals which are made from base metals and they are found on barren gas, lava, plasma and storm. So we're going to go for one barren planet because it gives us the advantage of getting both materials off the same planet. Make sure when choosing your ship to conduct PI, you choose one with a decent storage size. As you can see here, my Badger Mark II has 19,000 cubic meters. One command center takes up 1,000. They're quite large. Okay, so you can do the next step either in space or in the safety of the station. I recommend being out here in nullsec you do it from the safety of the station. Right click the current solar system and go show info. Gives you a brief description, adjacent solar systems, more importantly your orbital bodies, and this will tell you all the planets as well as any asteroid belts that are in the system. Since we're going for barren, we're having a look, we want to find how many barrens there are. There are a number of barrens in this area, which is really quite handy for us. I'll just choose this one randomly, we'll undock and we'll go from there. Okay, the beauty of setting up PI is you don't actually have to be near the planet itself, you just have to be in the same system. This is handy for I can set up my PI right next to the station here. I just have to be in space to put the command center down. Okay, the next step is where you go planets and we correspond to the barren planet that we've chosen. 08 Zulu TAC JJ would be 7, Roman numerals for 7, and this is when we want view in planet mode. It's always handy, well not handy but safe practice to make sure you keep local up just in case whilst you're in planet mode an enemy rocks up, you can safely dock up. Okay, here we want to get ourselves at a good range of view, not too close, not too far away, and we want to do a scan. We want to conduct a scan for the mechanical parts that we've decided to make. We need base metals and noble metals. Base metals and noble metals. What I like to do is I like to find the smallest amount first, and I'll conduct a scan on that. Wait for it to do a scan, and you'll see in white is the highest concentration of that particular mineral on that particular planet. This slider up here, far left is high concentrations, far right is less. So I like to put it roughly about where the white starts, so you get a good idea of where the highest concentration of that particular mineral is. And we're looking in the vicinity of here. What I'll then do is I'll find the second material that I require, being the base metal, and I'll conduct a scan as well, so that I can tell if placing my command center here is going to be beneficial for both. As you can see, it's not a high concentration, so we may have to look at somewhere else. So we go back to noble. And we look for somewhere else. Nice concentration here. So now we go back to base. And we'll probably find there's a concentration of base metals here, which means both the materials we require are reasonably close to each other, which is very handy. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to place our command center. So we go to build. You'll see command center is highlighted with barren. If that's not highlighted, it means either the planet you're at or the command center you have are not compatible. Okay, so go ahead and click on that. You can zoom in and out and place it and hit submit. One other procedure you can conduct, if you so wish, is to right click on the new planet and show other characters networks. What this does is it shows you whether or not you are in the vicinity of another player's command center. And there you go, you can actually see that we have another player in this area, and if it's Miss Vi, who is actually one of our members, which is fine as long as you don't encroach on our own members, guys. But if it's somebody else outside of the corp, not that big a deal. Okay, so Miss Vi is over here. We have another one up here. We're going to be mining this vicinity, and being in nullsec, there is a lot of minerals. It's not like we're going to be stealing from each other. Okay, at this stage, since you've submitted the command center and it's in place, you can actually exit planet mode, and for safety, you can now dock up. This is the other beauty of setting up PI. You do not need to be in space to actually set up the factories. You do have to be, obviously, to place a command center, but now that it's down, we go to science and industry, planets, and there you can see the one planet that we've placed, which only has one installation, would be the command center that I have placed. Nice and safely ensconced in the station. Can't get shot by any reds, which is fantastic. Now what we do is right click, view in planet mode, and it's brought us back to our command center. You don't require this extra stuff, so we can actually get rid of those, which allows you a little more viewing space on your screen. Okay, so now we zoom out just a little bit to get an idea, because we're going to conduct a scan again, just so that we know whereabouts we're going to place all our factories. But before we do that, we're going to go left click, and brings up the information on your command center. First thing you have to do is upgrade it, and that's where your skills for command center upgrades come in. If you've, for each command center upgrade, obviously allows you to upgrade it higher. The power output currently at its current status is very low, same as the CPU. Now if I click on this, you can see it expands exponentially, and I upgrade and submit. You must submit that before you can continue elsewhere. Okay, now when it comes to placing your factories, a lot of people do it a lot of different ways. After many moons of doing this, I've figured out the best way I like to do so, and this reduces the amount of wastage on power and CPU. First, I make a barren launch pad. You require this in order to launch your minerals from the planet up into space so you can collect it. As you can see the shadow. Now if I try and put it too close, it turns red, which means I am too close to the command center, so I try and get it as close as possible so that it allows me to do it nice and close. We're not wasting power. As you can see, the power usage is increased, and so too is the CPU. By putting it as close as possible, you reduce the waste. Okay, so you can either submit each time you do this, or once you get good enough and know what you're doing, you just submit at the end. But I'll submit. Now that's definitely in there, it's cemented there now. What I do is I now place a storage facility for each of the minerals that I am mining, which in this case is 2. I'll explain the storage later, but I get that nice and close and I tuck it in, and I'll place another one here. Alright, submit that. Now I know that I'm taking 2 base units or base materials, raw materials, and turning them into tier 1, and then amalgamating those 2 tier 1 materials into one single tier 2. So therefore I require a basic industry, 1 each, for the tier 1. So get it nice and close, and the next one. And for these, the 2 tier 1 materials will then have to be turned into a tier 2 material, being the mechanical parts, and they have to be done in an advanced facility. So therefore I try and squeeze this little bad boy in here, and as you can see, it's nice and close, and we've used very little power and very little CPU. So submit that. Righto, now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to tell each one of these facilities to talk to each other. There is a misconception with a lot of the PI out there. You do not have to link or connect in any way, shape or form to the command center, and by not doing that you reduce the amount of wastage. Every time you create a link, which we'll do very shortly, you actually use more power in CPU, so the less links you have, the better. Okay, now my raw materials that the extractors are going to extract are going to go into each one of these storage facilities, and as I discussed before about storage facilities, I place these down because they actually have more space than the launch pad itself, and this will become apparent later. Okay, so we've got one here, and we're going to link this to this basic facility. This basic facility is going to link to the advanced, and the advanced is going to link to the launch pad, and we repeat the process here. Create link here and create link here. Right, now if we follow the flow of direction, any materials that when the extractors are here mining, they will come into here to this storage, and at a set rate will flow the raw material into this basic facility here, and that basic facility will turn into tier 1 products, and the same on this side with a different type of mineral will come into here, go into this one, be turned into a certain product, and both these products will then merge into this advanced facility and be turned into a mechanical part. Once that's turned into a mechanical part, which is the outcome that we want, it will be sent to the launch pad. Once it's stored in the launch pad, you can come along then and launch it from the planet to the customs office and take it away with you. Okay, now I'm going to place my extractors, and as discussed before, we need base metals and noble metals. So if we go back to scan, actually I need to submit. If you ever see submit up here still, it means you haven't actually submitted any changes you've made. So by submitting, it's ready to go. Okay, we want to conduct a scan for base metals and noble metals, and noble metals being the smallest amount on this planet, I'll go for that first. Alright, zoom out a little bit and you get an idea of the concentration. Again, you can change the slider and see that at about 4 o'clock from my command center is the highest concentration. That'll give you an idea of where you want to put your extractor head. Okay, so what we'll do now, we'll zoom in and we'll place our extractor. So you go to build and we want an extractor control unit. Click on that. Now the further away, obviously with that highlighted round circle, the further away you go, the more power and CPU you require to be able to talk back to the command center. So therefore, if you bring it in nice and close, you don't require that much. The white circle is the range ring for the extractors themselves. You could actually have this extractor way over here somewhere and create a link all the way back. However, the power usage in CPU would be phenomenal. So what I like to do is I like to check my concentration and keep it nice and close. Place my extractor head down. Right click, create a link back to the storage unit, and then submit. We'll now click back on here, left click on here and go survey for deposits. This is going to tell the extractor what minerals you want it to mine. Okay, so we were looking at base metals, so we come up here, highlight base metals, and it will, and there we go. So we zoom out. Alright, maybe it was, let's go back to noble metals and see if that was it. There we go, it was noble metals. As we can see, is the concentration nice and close. So we want to do it over about a 4-day period. It's really up to you how often you want to check it. By having it running for 4 days, I like it at that time. You don't have to check it every day, obviously, hence the 4 days. Okay, so we've chosen our time. We now want to go and install the extractor units themselves. This is where you need to keep an eye on your power usage. You don't want it to get from this white line to the end more than about half, because you won't be able to do it again on your second set of extractors. So 6 is usually what I use. That is dependent on your skill level, hence the reason I said previously in this video, get your skills to at least level 4. Okay, as we can see here, they're in red. It means, and if we zoom in, it means they're touching each other, and you can clearly see that these extractors are all touching each other. So once you move them out, they're no longer touching each other. You don't want to have your extractor heads touching each other. Alright, now they're not red. If we look over here, per hour, we're pulling in 14,235 units, which is good. However, you can increase that by grabbing a hold of one of these, and you see the range ring comes up, and I can't go any further away. That's the maximum distance. What I like to do is I like to spread mine out so they're not all mining from the same area. And now our units per hour is slightly higher, and we're set. So you install program and submit. Now every hour, this particular extractor, we're using all those extractor heads, is going to bring in 14,000 units. However, you now have to tell this extractor unit where to send all those. So if we go to products, as you can see, it's going to be bringing in that much over the 4 days, but it's not routed anywhere. So we want to route that. We want to tell that to go from this location into that storage unit. So click it, create route, and click on the storage unit, There you go, it tells you which one you clicked on, create route, and submit. Now, and you can see the line's now active. Everything that this particular unit from these heads mines gets sent and stored into this storage unit. When we build the other extractor over here, we'll do the same thing. Okay, this is the next step, is where it gets a bit complicated. This step is all about telling each one of these factories what they're going to make. However, you have to work backwards. This being the advanced or the last stage of the production cycle, you have to start there. So if we right click on that, or left click, we want to look at schematics. We want to tell this particular building what to build. So click on schematics, and it brings up a list of a whole bunch of things, and you can scroll down. So this is all the things that you can make in the advanced factory. And there's mechanical parts. So we want mechanical parts. So we click on mechanical parts, and it gives you a brief idea of it makes 5 over 1 hour using these particular pieces. We've got the reactive metals and precious metals. Okay, so hit install. Now it'll prompt you and say, well, those mechanical parts this building is making haven't been routed. Where do you want to send them? So we want to send these to the launch pad, because that's ultimately the mechanical part is what we want, and we want to launch that up to the customs office and put it in our shipper and take it back to the POS. So click on that, create route. Okay, now this this facility has now been told to make mechanical parts using these particular materials, and once it's created those, it will send the finished product to the launch pad. So we hit submit. Now each one of these has to be told what material to make and to be sent to there for that to do its production. So we know that we're bringing in here, it's bringing noble metals, and we know that noble metals are turned into precious metals. So therefore this particular facility has to make precious metals. So we scroll down, there we go, precious metals, install, and again it prompts you saying that, okay, well I'm making them but I haven't routed them. Create the route and send it to the advanced. Now when it highlights white, it means it's good. Sometimes it'll come up and say, hey, this is the wrong bit of material for the schematic. That means you've chosen the wrong schematic in this building, or you've chosen the wrong material to send to that building from here. So in this case we've got it right. We've got precious metals from noble metals. So create route and hit submit. Alright, now we'll do it again over here. So we've done the noble metals into precious metals, and the precious metals into this area here. As you can see, we've got reactive and precious. Without both of those two materials, this building can't make mechanical parts. So far we've routed half of the ingredients, so we have to do it again over here. So we've created and routed the precious metals. We now have to create and route the reactive. So we go here, schematics again, scroll down to reactive metals and install. Prompts you it's not routed, create route, submit. Alright, so far we have materials coming in here, materials going into there, that building and that building been told what to make and where to send it, which is into here. This building has been told what to make and where to send it, which is here. However, this building here has not been told where to send those 60,000 incoming noble metals. So what we need to do is we need to create a route to there, submit. Now if we track what we've got, noble metals coming in, the raw product goes into the storage. Now if we check the routes, we can see the raw product is incoming, so there's 60,000 units incoming, and now that we've told it to send those incoming out So it comes in through the back door, it goes out through the front door, and there's 3,000 outgoing into this area here. And we can see 3,000 are incoming through the back door, and 20,000 precious metals, once they're converted in this building, are outgoing through the front door to here. Alright, so it's got the reactive and the precious making the mechanical parts. What I need to do now is I need to place another extractor unit. Firstly we scan the base metals. Check our concentrations, nice and close, and we place our extractor head there. Create the link back to the storage unit and submit. Okay, so this one here, again, we do the same thing. We survey for deposits, knowing that we're looking for the base metals. So we click on base metals, it'll do its scan. We want to make it about 4 days. Alright, zoom out a little bit, rearrange your view, and place our extractor heads down. Okay, as you can see now, my CPU unit is correction power usage is very close to being to its maximum. If you have lower skills than level 4, you will not be able to have 6 extractor heads per extractor control unit. You may only be able to get 3. Hence the need for level 4 skills on all of your PI. Alright, now we just move these out. Try and keep them away from each other. It doesn't matter if these go anywhere near this other extractor head because it's completely separate. It does not affect it in any way, shape or form. So I can place it over here, and you can see up here they're not going red. It's only extractor units in its own one. There we go. It doesn't like that at all. So we go and check. It's 11,000. I'd rather try and get some more. So we push it out. Find the sweet spot. This will tell you exactly what each one's using. Okay, this one here is only bringing in 106. Where are you? And it's this one right here. So as I move it around, you can see that number increases. Alright, so it's now bringing in 130. Well, we've got 76. That's not very good. That's not that one. Which one is it? Oh, it's probably this one here. There we go. Let's bring that right out and get it in a nice. Ah, look at that. Nearly 13,000 units. That's nice. Okay, so we install that and submit. Once again, we need to tell this particular building here where to send all the materials that are coming in its back door. So we go to routes, correction, we go to products. So it's bringing in 50,000 of the base materials, but it's not routed. So we click that and we tell it to go into the storage facility. Boom. Create route. Submit. Now the 50,000 that are coming in there are being sent to here. We now have to tell this where to send the 50,000 that are coming in, which we want to go to here. So we go routes. You can see there's 50,000 incoming but nothing outgoing. So we click on that, we create a route, and we're going to send it to this basic facility and click submit. And once again, if you click on it, we have 50,000 incoming, 30 outgoing. A good way to check is to start from the end of the line, which would be the final product, and look at routes. Alright, we've got 5 mechanical parts incoming, which is exactly what we want. That's every hour or every cycle that is created, there will be 5 there. So over 4 days you should look at having in the vicinity of 200 to 300 sitting in that launch pad. Now we'll double check our instruction, go to the advanced, have a looking at routes. Alright, we've got 20 reactive and 20 precious incoming and 5 outgoing, which we already know is the outgoing into here, so that's good. Now we check each one of these. This one has 3,000 of the raw material coming in and 20,000 of the tier 1 production going out to that location. Once again, check this one, same, 3,000 and 20,000 respectively. We check this just to make sure that there's incoming and outgoing, which the larger number is incoming, the smaller number is outgoing, and let's do that one as well just to be safe. Larger number incoming and the smaller number outgoing. We now know that this facility is completely up and running, and over the next couple of hours and days the materials, raw materials, will come into here, into these particular facilities. They will be then turned into something else, which will then mix in with here, and then be turned into something else again, and end up with the final product here, which you will launch. Now, to launch that, you have to be in space, and you have to be, to pick up the materials, you have to be at the respective planet's customs office within 2,000 meters of it for you to access that. Now, that's quite easy to do. However, I'll show you. Click on this, launch, and if there are any products, it would show you how to launch. This gives you, here we go, look, you're unable to establish communications, and that is because I am not in space, I'm in the station. If you get that, it means you have to undock. There we go, so we'll go through that. Okay, we've undocked, and we want to go to the customs office. So the quickest way is to grab Science and Industry, highlight the Planets tab. I like to move it out of the way, and here's our planet that we just created. Right click on it and go Customs Office, and warp to within 0. It's easy, or however you want to go, but you have to be within 2,000 meters for you to access it. And off we go. We'll go over to the planet we've just created. Alright, here we are. We've arrived at the customs office, and each planet has one of these particular structures floating around the planet. Alright, this is where you'll access to get any products that have been launched to and from that particular planet. And you may have just seen before, and sometimes you'll get to see a little, there we go, just fired off there. There it goes. That's what it looks like when things get launched up or down. Okay, so let's view in planet mode. If we had anything in this particular launch pad, we'd right click on it, we'd hit launch. Okay, if there are any items that you want to launch up from the planet, they would be in here, and you drag it across and hit transfer, and it costs you ISK every time you do that, and vice versa. If there's anything in your ship you wanted to transfer across from your cargo hold into the customs office, it would go here. You would then drag it across, you would put it there, then hit transfer, and it transfers it back into this launch pad, which allows you then to send it to various places. However, in this case, we're looking to launch off the planet, which we don't have anything, so if there was mechanical parts here, I would click and drag over into this section here. I'd then hit transfer, and it would transfer from the planet to the customs office. You then have to make sure that you take it from the customs office and place it into your ship's hull. Otherwise you'll fly off and realize that you've left it behind in the customs office. This is probably one of the most dangerous times, because you're actually out in space and you can't see your local. Local chat is very important because of the fact that it'll tell you if there are any reds. Currently they are all friendlies with a couple of corp members. So once you've done that, you either go to your next planet and collect the next bit of item you require, or we diddly-bop back as quickly as possible to the safety of the station. This concludes the video. As stated before, there will be a number of links attached to this. If there are any questions, don't hesitate to ask.